Imagine this. You're smiling, enjoying one of the happiest days of the year with thousands of people around you, music booming, rainbow flags waving, when suddenly your stomach sinks. Your phone is gone. Not lost, not misplaced, stolen. But here's the twist. My husband had unknowingly taken a photo of the exact thief in the act. And that single photo, it set off a chain of events that ended with the thief in handcuffs. If you've ever dreamed of seeing a thief or scammer get what they truly deserve, you're going to love this story. Hit that like button, subscribe for more true revenge stories, and let's dive right into one of the most unbelievable days of my life. My name is Emily, and what I'm about to share feels like something straight out of a movie. It all started on a hot summer afternoon in New York City, at the 2022 Pride Parade. Now, if you've ever been to Pride, you know the atmosphere is electric. It's loud, it's colorful, it's chaotic in the most beautiful way possible. People are dancing on floats, glitter flying through the air, drag queens striking poses, families holding hands, friends cheering. It's pure joy wrapped in a rainbow. I was there with my husband, Chris, and a few close friends. We were a group of 6, and honestly, the only thing on my mind that day was having fun, showing support, and capturing memories. Chris loves photography. He isn't professional, but he carries his camera or his phone everywhere, snapping pictures at random moments, sometimes of me, sometimes of total strangers, sometimes of the sky. He says he just likes freezing time. That little hobby of his. It would turn out to be the key to justice. I remember standing near the barricades, waving to a friend who was actually marching in the parade. The music was thumping, bass vibrating in my chest. I had one hand up in the air, smiling like an idiot, just soaking in the energy. Chris was behind me, laughing, taking a few candid shots. I barely noticed, it's second nature by now. Then, in the middle of all the joy, I felt a chill. Not the kind you get from the breeze, but the kind that makes your body tense before your brain even registers why. I reached for my purse. And my heart dropped. My phone was gone. I froze. You know that sinking feeling? Like the ground just got ripped from under you. That was me in that moment. I tried to convince myself, maybe I dropped it. Maybe it's somewhere at the bottom of my bag. Maybe Chris has it. But deep down, I knew. Pride is amazing, but it's also a thief's paradise. Crowds everywhere, people distracted, music blasting. It's the perfect hunting ground for pickpockets. Still, I pulled everything out of my purse like a panicked detective. Wallet, lipstick, hand sanitizer, gum wrappers, everything but my phone. I turned to Chris, my voice shaking. Babe, my phone. It's gone. The joy of the parade faded instantly. My chest tightened, my eyes darted around at hundreds of strangers. I felt exposed. Violated. Someone had been close enough to me, to touch me, to open my bag, and I hadn't noticed. Chris frowned and said, "Wait, maybe it fell out earlier. I was taking pictures of you just now, let's check." We scrolled through his camera roll, desperate for a clue. And then we both went silent. In one of the photos, just behind me, was a woman holding a rainbow flag. She looked casual, almost too casual, but her hand was slipping directly into my purse. The flag covered the movement perfectly, like a magician's trick. It was chilling. My stomach twisted. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't me being careless. I had just been robbed, on camera, in broad daylight. Chris whispered, "Holy crap, we got her." And that's when the mood shifted. My fear, my helplessness, it ignited into something else. Rage. We weren't going to let this slide. There were 6 of us total, so we split up like a search party. Each of us scanning the streets, weaving through the crowd, hearts pounding. And you know what? About 20 minutes later, we spotted her. 2 blocks down, the same woman, still carrying that rainbow flag like it was her shield. I'll never forget the jolt of adrenaline. My throat went dry, my palms sweaty. This was her. This was the thief who had touched me, stolen from me, smiled like she was just another festival goer. I felt anger boiling in my chest, but Chris was calm. He said, "Don't confront her directly. Let's get the police." And thank God we did. One thing about Pride in NYC, police are everywhere. Barricades, intersections, checkpoints. You can't walk 2 blocks without seeing an officer. We rushed to the nearest corner, breathless, showing the officer the photos on Chris's phone. He raised his eyebrows. Wow! That's clear evidence. He called for backup immediately. Within minutes, 2 more officers joined, and together we walked toward the woman. I can't describe the satisfaction of watching her face when she realized the cops were coming straight for her. That smug, untouchable expression drained away, replaced by nervous fidgeting. She tried to act innocent at first. What? I didn't do anything. I'm just here for the parade. But the officers had seen the photos. They weren't buying it. The officers didn't waste time. One of them asked her to step aside from the crowd, guiding her toward a quieter corner near the barricades. Chris and I followed close behind, my heart hammering in my chest. I couldn't stop staring at her, the thief. This woman had slid her hand into my bag while I was smiling, distracted, enjoying a day meant for love and freedom. It was infuriating. She still clutched that rainbow flag, waving it nervously, her voice rising in fake outrage. This is harassment. You can't just accuse me because I'm standing near her. But the officer calmly showed her the photos on Chris's phone. Her face drained of color. You could see the exact moment she realized. She was caught. Not just suspected. Not just accused. Caught. The denial phase. She stammered, shaking her head. No, that's not me. That's not even my hand. You can't prove anything. But the photo was crystal clear. Her clothes, her bracelet, even the cheap rings on her fingers, all visible. One officer said flatly, you need to hand over the phone. That's when the panic started creeping into her voice. I don't have it. I don't know what you're talking about. I never touched her bag. It was almost laughable. Her performance was so over the top. She was playing the victim, but her hands were trembling, her eyes darting everywhere. I felt a cold fury rise inside me. She thinks she can just lie her way out of this. After invading my space, after stealing from me in broad daylight. The interrogation. The police didn't back down. They separated her slightly from the crowd and started pressing her with questions. Where's the phone? Who did you give it to? Do you want us to press charges, or do you want to make this easier on yourself? For nearly an hour, they kept at her. At first she repeated the same tired lines. I don't know what you're talking about, I didn't take anything, that's not me. But eventually, her mask cracked. She sighed dramatically, rolling her eyes, and muttered, Fine. I don't have the phone anymore. But I can make a call. The officer leaned in. A call to who? To the person who has it now. My stomach twisted. So she wasn't working alone. She had partners, maybe a whole team, picking through bags and pockets at Pride. She dialed a number right there under police watch, speaking in a hushed, irritated voice. Yeah, she's pressing charges. Just drop the phone off. 14th and 6th. Northeast corner. Hurry. The officer wrote everything down and sent a patrol car to check. For a moment, I felt hope. Maybe, just maybe, I'd get my phone back. About 20 minutes later, the patrol returned, holding a phone. The officer approached me and said, Here you go. Is this yours? I snatched it, heart pounding. But the second I pressed the lock button, my chest tightened. This wasn't my phone. It was the same make and model, same brand, same color. But when the lock screen lit up, it showed someone else's wallpaper. A picture of a dog I didn't recognize. My lips parted in disbelief. This isn't mine. The officer frowned, flipping through the details. He looked at me, then at the thief. This doesn't belong to her. Whose phone is this? Her face went pale. She hadn't expected this. The cops pressed harder. So now you're not only stealing phones, you're passing around multiple stolen phones? Do you realize how serious this is? Her act fell apart. She stuttered, tried to explain, then clammed up completely. And that's when the cuffs came out. Click. Click. The sound of those metal restraints snapping shut was one of the most satisfying sounds I've ever heard. She was led away in front of everyone, her rainbow flag dangling pathetically at her side, no longer a shield but a symbol of her arrogance. I should have been devastated about my phone. After all, it had my photos, my contacts, years of memories. But in that moment, I felt vindicated. Because she didn't just get away. She didn't vanish into the crowd like so many pickpockets do. She was caught, exposed, and punished. And here's the ironic twist: the phone she tried to pass off as mine? That belonged to another victim. Thanks to her mistake, someone else's phone was rescued that day. So, even if I didn't get mine back, at least one stranger got a miracle call from the police saying, "Hey, we found your phone." I couldn't help but smile. Karma has a funny way of working. As we watched her being taken away, the parade continued behind us. Music blasting, people cheering, glitter still raining down. It was surreal, standing in the middle of joy and celebration, knowing that justice had just been served on the sidelines. Chris squeezed my hand and said softly, "See? My random pictures finally paid off." I laughed through the adrenaline. "You're not just my husband. You're my crime scene photographer now." We both burst out laughing, relief flooding in. When the thief was finally taken away in handcuffs, I felt something shift inside me. It wasn't just relief, it was a strange mix of triumph and exhaustion. My body was buzzing from adrenaline, but my heart was heavy too. I mean, my phone was still gone. My photos, my private messages, my notes, my entire digital life, still missing somewhere in the city. But at least I wasn't powerless anymore. Because here's the thing, when someone steals from you, it isn't just about the object. It's about the violation. The feeling that your personal space has been invaded, your trust in the world shaken. That thief didn't just take my phone, she took away my sense of safety, even if only for a moment. And yet, watching her being led away, knowing she couldn't just walk off smugly into the crowd, it gave me a kind of peace I didn't expect. As we walked back toward the parade, I kept thinking about the irony of it all. The phone the thief tried to pass off as mine, it wasn't mine at all. But it was someone's. Some poor stranger out there probably thought their phone was gone forever. And because that thief panicked, because she tried to trick the police, that stranger was about to get the best surprise of their life, the cops showing up with their phone in hand. I almost laughed to myself. My loss became someone else's gain. It wasn't the kind of justice I'd expected, but it was justice all the same. Later that evening, the police gave us a brief update. They couldn't guarantee they'd track down my phone, it had probably already been passed along, maybe even sold. But the woman they arrested, she wasn't new to them. Apparently, she was known in the area for petty theft during big events. Pride, concerts, festivals, she blended into crowds, hiding behind flags or props, snatching wallets and phones from distracted people. But this time, she wasn't walking free. The evidence was too strong. And all because my husband loved snapping random photos. On the subway ride home, I kept turning it all over in my head. How many times have we walked through busy streets, headphones in, bags slung carelessly at our sides? How many times have we assumed we were safe because we were in a crowd? That day taught me something. Crowds don't always mean safety. Sometimes, they mean vulnerability. But it also taught me something else. Never underestimate the power of small actions. Chris wasn't trying to play detective. He wasn't even paying attention to my purse. He just liked taking photos. And that simple, ordinary hobby exposed a criminal. I want you, the listener, to think about this. Have you ever been underestimated? Have you ever had someone assume they could get away with hurting you? Because you weren't paying attention, because you weren't strong enough, because you wouldn't fight back? That's exactly what this thief thought about me. She saw a woman smiling, distracted, enjoying the parade, and she thought, perfect target. She won't notice until it's too late. But what she didn't count on was the fact that sometimes, life leaves breadcrumbs. Sometimes, karma leaves receipts. And in her case, it was a literal photograph. Her hand in my bag, frozen forever in pixels. Even though I didn't get my phone back, I realized I wasn't walking away empty-handed. Because in the end, she didn't just rob me. She robbed others too. And by getting caught, she returned at least one stolen phone to its rightful owner. That thought comforted me. Somewhere in the city, a stranger was about to unlock their phone, see their own wallpaper again, and breathe a sigh of relief. And they'd never know that it was my stolen moment that brought their phone back. It was like justice didn't just serve me, it served all of us. When Chris and I got home that night, I sat on the couch in silence for a long time. The day replayed in my mind over and over, the joy of the parade, the sudden shock of violation, the chase, the confrontation, the handcuffs clicking shut. And then I thought of one detail that made me smile. That thief probably woke up that morning thinking she was clever. She thought she could work the crowd, take what she wanted, disappear into the chaos. She thought no one would ever notice. But in the end, her downfall came from the one thing she never expected, an ordinary husband with a camera, just trying to capture a memory of his wife smiling at pride. And that felt like the sweetest revenge of all. The image is burned into my memory. That woman, so smug just an hour earlier, was now standing against a police car with her hands cuffed behind her back. The crowd of parade goers passing by couldn't help but notice. Some people slowed down, staring. Others whispered. A few even pulled out their phones to record. And there she was, caught in the most public kind of humiliation. She had thought the parade was her playground, a sea of distraction where she could slip her hands into purses and walk away unseen. Instead, it became her stage of exposure. I can't lie, watching her squirm under the officers' questions felt good. For so long, she held the power. She had my phone. She had gotten away with it. She had violated my space and walked away thinking she'd never be caught. But now, that power shifted back to me. And it wasn't because I yelled or chased her down or risked my safety. No, it was because the truth came to light. Evidence doesn't lie. The photo Chris took was undeniable. A frozen moment where her hand was literally inside my purse, the rainbow flag covering her theft like a cheap stage trick. She could deny it all she wanted, but the photo told the story for us. As the officers loaded her into the patrol car, she finally snapped. "This is ridiculous. It was just a phone. You don't understand. You can't do this to me." Her voice was shrill, panicked, echoing over the music of the parade. People around us turned to look, eyebrows raised, some shaking their heads in disgust. I felt my chest unclench. There it is. The mask was off. She wasn't calm, collected, clever anymore. She was desperate. One of the officers looked at her coldly and said, "You stole from multiple people today. You're going downtown. Maybe next time, you'll think twice." And just like that, the car door slammed shut. The sound of it, loud, final, echoing, was like closure. I stood there with Chris, both of us silent for a long moment. The parade marched on in the background, music thumping, flags waving, but for me, time felt slower. Because this wasn't just about a stolen phone anymore. It was about justice. So many times, thieves get away with it. So many times, victims are left with nothing but frustration, feeling powerless and dismissed. But not this time. This time, she faced consequences. What made it even sweeter was the crowd's reaction. A few people nearby who had seen the photos leaned over and whispered to me, "Good for you. She deserved that. Glad they caught her." One woman even smiled at me and said, "You just saved other people today." And she was right. Who knows how many more pockets or bags that thief would have targeted if she hadn't been stopped. She wasn't just robbing me, she was preying on the joy of an entire community. Her arrest meant fewer victims. And that, to me, felt like the ultimate payback. I turned to Chris, squeezing his hand so tight he laughed. "You have no idea," I said, "how much I love that you take random pictures." He grinned sheepishly. "Guess I'm useful after all." But inside, I felt overwhelming gratitude. Without him, I would have been just another faceless victim. Another number in a police report. Instead, his quiet hobby, his way of capturing moments, had tipped the scales. And watching that thief's face crumble when she saw the photo, that was the revenge. Not me yelling, not me fighting. just the truth, undeniable, exposed for everyone to see. Standing there, I realized something important. Revenge doesn't always have to be loud. Sometimes, the sweetest revenge is silent. It's the satisfaction of watching someone trap themselves in their own lies. That woman thought she was clever. She thought she was invisible. She thought she could manipulate her way out. But in the end, she became the architect of her own downfall. Her arrogance led her to steal in broad daylight. Her panic led her to hand over the wrong phone. And her lies collapsed under the weight of a single candid photo. That was justice. That was closure. And in a strange way, it felt symbolic. Pride is supposed to be a celebration of authenticity, being seen for who you really are. She came there in disguise, pretending to blend in, pretending she was part of the joy while secretly taking from others. But the truth always comes out. She was exposed. Seen for exactly who she was, a thief. And for me, that was more powerful than getting my phone back. As the parade carried on and the thief disappeared into the back of the police car, I felt the strangest mix of exhaustion and peace. No, I didn't get my phone back. But I got something more valuable that day: closure. Because the truth is, when someone wrongs you, what you crave most isn't always the return of what was stolen. What you crave is justice. You want to know that the world doesn't just let people like that walk away. You want proof that actions have consequences. And that day, I got to see it play out in real time. The photo Chris snapped wasn't meant to be evidence. It was just a memory, a candid shot of me smiling at a parade. But hidden in that photo was the truth, a thief caught red-handed. And it reminded me of something important. Sometimes, even in chaos, the universe has a way of revealing the truth. I thought a lot about that other phone too, the one she tried to pass off as mine. At first, it felt like another twist of the knife. But then I realized something. By panicking, by trying to trick the police, she accidentally returned what she had stolen from someone else. Somewhere out there, another person's day turned from despair to joy. They thought they'd lost everything, only to be handed back their phone thanks to her own mistake. That's karma in action. And honestly, that felt even better than just getting my own phone back. Because it meant her downfall didn't just serve me, it served others too. Her greed ended up undoing itself. Looking back, the entire situation taught me a few lessons I'll never forget. Crowds don't always mean safety. Sometimes they mean vulnerability. Small, ordinary actions, like snapping a random photo, can change everything. And most importantly, justice has a way of catching up with people, even when they think they're untouchable. I walked into Pride that day ready to celebrate joy and freedom. I left reminded that there are always people who try to take advantage of that joy. But I also left with proof that karma doesn't let them win forever. The thief thought she was clever. She thought she was invisible. She thought she could use a rainbow flag as a shield to hide her crime. But she forgot one simple truth. You can't hide from the truth itself. And in the end, the truth was her undoing. That day, I didn't just lose a phone. I gained a story of justice, of revenge, and of the sweet, satisfying moment when a thief realizes her game is over. And that's the story of how my stolen phone turned into someone else's miracle, and how a thief got the revenge she never saw coming. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and subscribe for more true revenge stories every week. And I want to hear from you. What's the most satisfying moment of justice you've ever witnessed? Drop it in the comments below. Because at the end of the day, revenge isn't always about payback, it's about balance. And sometimes, the universe balances things in the most unexpected ways.